On today's Tuesday Talk segment, we are going to talk to Claire, a certified doula and owner of Crowning Moments Doula Services. We're going to learn about how a doula can help a woman through the preparation and labor and delivery process. So with that, we're going to introduce Claire. Thank you for coming today.
No problem.
So let's jump right into it, Claire. What is a doula and how is a doula different than a midwife and an OBGYN?
So the term doula comes from ancient Greek, meaning a woman who serves. And in modern terms, that means a woman who is trained and experienced in birth and the process, who provides continuous physical and emotional support before, during, and after labor. The way a doula is different from a midwife and an OB, there was a shift in the early 1900s where women stopped having babies at homes and the birth process became more hospitalized. Mm-hmm. So prior to that time, women in labor, they would call their moms, their sisters, their aunts, sometimes the grandma, to come over and help them with the birth process. And these women would come and they'd set up the supplies and they would offer support, advice, they'd commiserate, and ultimately they would pass down the knowledge that they had of the birth process.
Okay.
And as it became more modernized, the hospitals, the OBs, and sometimes midwives in hospitals took over that process. And today, in modern times, the OB and the midwife are medical professionals, and they help with the delivery of a baby. And the role that these women, prior to the 1900s, served has been taken over by partners, husbands, nurses, sisters, friends, and doulas, who are professionals and are trained to help couples and mothers implement their birth plan in a non-medical capacity and help them to adapt to it. So we are more of a birth partner rather than somebody that will help deliver your baby as a medical professional.
So how do you help mothers during the preparation phase while they're pregnant?
So most doulas will typically meet with couples a number of times before they actually have the baby or go into labor. And during that time, they will talk about childbirth education, what they can expect basically, different stages of labor, sort of what they want to happen during the birth process, how they can figure out their birth plan. Mm-hmm. And then a doula will be with them during the actual labor. A woman will call their doula, say, I think I'm in labor, and the doula will come to their house and help them with comfort techniques, with relaxation, making sure they feel as comfortable as possible before they go to the hospital. And then at the hospital, they are there to offer advice, to offer emotional support, to kind of be the person that will speak in layman's terms to them when a nurse or an OB or midwife comes and tells them what their options are. The doula can help them figure out what that actually means.
Do only mothers who plan to have a natural birth use doulas, or if a mother who wants to have an epidural, do they also opt to use doulas as well?
Both. So not necessarily is it only unmedicated moms that want a doula. That is more the majority.
Okay.
For unmedicated moms that want a natural birth, doulas are more physical support. So they're going to offer counter pressure and make sure they're in the right positions and make sure they're walking and labor is progressing. Mm-hmm. For moms that plan to have an epidural or some other type of medication, a doula is just as beneficial, but their role is different.
Okay.
They won't necessarily be offering as much physical support. They'll be more doing the emotional support, making sure that the woman's partner is taken care of, making sure that they understand what is happening to them at the time.
And so for those that are listening today and they're interested in finding a doula that's local to their area, what kind of resources are out there and how do you recommend someone finding the right doula for them?
So if you're with a traditional OB practice, some have preferred doulas that they like to work with. So you can always ask them first. Do you have a list of doulas that you would recommend I get in touch with? There's also something called doulamatch.net.
Oh, wow. I never heard of that before.
Yeah, it is the largest way that people find doulas. You can plug in your due date and your zip code, and it will list every doula that's available for your due date.
Now, the doulas that will show up on that website, are they all certified doulas, or could they be pending certification?
Yes, so it has a whole range.
Okay.
They're certified doulas, which means that these women, sometimes men, have gone through the training process and become certified.
Okay.
There are people that have just done the classes and opted not to do the certification.
Okay.
Or they're pending.
Okay.
There are doulas that are, they consider themselves professional, experienced, but they aren't certified through any training organization.
Okay.
So this lists all of them. However, it does have all their credentials listed, and you can vet them that way.
Okay. And what do you think is the number one thing someone should consider when finding a match in terms of a doula that would be the best fit for them?
A lot of women get hung up on making sure that somebody has the most experience possible for the best price.
Okay.
And I always say you may find a student doula that fits with your personality the best,
Okay.
and not to discount them just because they don't have the experience, because they bring something completely different and new knowledge that an older doula may not have.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. And can I say one more
Sure.
thing? If you're looking for a doula, know that your chance of having a C-section is decreased by almost 30%.
Wow.
An
Okay.
episiotomy by 31%, and the chance of an epidural by 10%. I mean, there's a whole host of things that a doula can do for you that will help decrease your chances of regular interventions that you may not want, or a C-section that you may not need.
And having a potentially safer delivery
Yeah,
all around.
all around, yeah.
Well, hopefully this episode of Tuesday Talks has educated you on a topic that you may or may not be familiar with. What is a doula? If you want to learn more about Claire and her services, or just want to learn more about what a doula does, you can go to her website, which is crowningmomentsdoula.com.